is a little more difficult than being Max Kellerman.
Catch the Dan Levitard Show with Stu Gatz, 9 to 11, every weekday, right here on Pensacola's sports leader, ESPN Pensacola.
Your voice, your vote. In our democracy, they matter and make our community and our country stronger. So make yours count. Get registered. Learn the issues. Know the candidates. And vote by or on November 3rd. Visit vote411.org for registration and election information. This message is furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
This Thursday at 5:30, tune into the Sports Drive with me, Chad Brillante, when we tee it up with PGA and head pro at Osceola Golf Course, Adrian Stills, for his inside scoop on local golf events and some entertaining stories around the links. Adrian has represented Pensacola at the highest levels of the PGA Tour and is proud to call Pensacola his home. And now he's giving you the inside scoop Thursday at 5:30, right here on the Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
The next time you rearrange that messy closet, why not set aside time to put your financial house in order as well? There are steps that can save you money and prevent hassles in the future. Make sure your credit report is accurate. Clean up bad credit by paying bills on time and paying down balances. And dispose of all unnecessary documents by shredding them. For more tips, call the National Foundation for Credit Counseling today at 800-388-2227 or visit them at nfcc.org, a public service from the NFCC.
This is ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Pensacola's home for hometown sports. Your home to talk football with Coach K. Sports Drive with Chad Brillante and Sports Call with Davis Allen. If you'd like to partner with ESPN Pensacola or become a sponsor, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
The following has been produced by Talk Football LLC. Former Florida Gators quarterback, NFL quarterback, and NFL head coach. Coach K. Stevenson has a resume second to none, and now he's sharing his insider information with you. Talk Football with Coach K starts right now on ESPN Pensacola.
Welcome into Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL head coach K. Stevenson on this Thursday afternoon. A little bit different Thursday than we've had in quite some time. The NFL season is here. Today, we finally made it. We've been counting down for quite some time. We didn't know, let's be honest, we didn't know if we would get here or not with everything going on with COVID-19. But we've got a college football game as well as Miami will take on UAB. But obviously, we're ready to see Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs lace them up and go back out on the field after winning that championship last year in the Super Bowl over the 49ers. And we're going to get the Houston Texans and Kansas City Chiefs right there. So we'll talk about that in just a moment. Look, like I said, we have a ton of stuff to get to today. As always, with football season is here. It's officially here. ACC, Big 12 open up this week. SEC opens up here soon. So we're going to get to all that. But first and foremost, like we always do here, I want to thank our first responders and healthcare workers for what they do. These folks above and beyond. I mean, we talk about them every day, and they deserve it. We could talk hours about what these folks do. We live in a great community that has such great folks here from, look, police officers, firefighters, EMT personnel, nurses, doctors, all the above. I mean, there's so many people that I'm not mentioning that I would love to mention here, but I have friends and family on both sides of it, and very proud of them, and they love what they do. Make that very clear. They love going out each and every day and not knowing what they're going to face. And after hearing some of the stories, the things they go through, I don't want to hear anymore. It's crazy, some of the things. But you know what? Once again, they the one thing that they always tell me is they get great support from the community, and that's you guys out there. So we appreciate that. We appreciate them. Look, grocery store employees, truck drivers, all the essential workers, we mention you guys because of COVID-19 and what's been going on. Look, throw on a mask. This is not a political statement. Make that very clear. Anybody that knows me knows I do not like to bring politics into anything. Sometimes you have to. But if you're going in and out of businesses, look, throw it on there. Don't make it any tougher for these guys as long as you can physically. I'll make that clear. But they don't want to follow these protocols any more than you do. but these protocols are set in place to protect everybody, not just ourselves. So we thank all those folks, by the way, for what they do. And when you're out and about, let them know. Look, a kind word goes a long way, especially with what's been going on right now. But look, like I said, we have a ton of football to get to today. Coach, how are you doing, my friend?
Doing well. Good to be with you, JP. And as always, I second your opening remarks there of gratitude really to a number of people. And we certainly feel that way and wouldn't have it any other way than to say each day, we thank you.
Absolutely. It, like we said, we could talk all day about it, but those folks, we thank them so much for their service and what they do, especially being a military town. We know how much that stuff means to us. But, Coach, jumping into this. Now, I'll talk about the NFL side of things real quick. Like I said, Miami takes on UAB tonight. How about that? Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens right there at 7 o'clock on ACC Network. Look, some people maybe, if you're a Miami fan, you may be tuning into this. The majority of people probably will be paying attention to Houston and Kansas City, just saying for what it is. But, look, Miami, this is interesting. De'Aaron King is now the quarterback at Miami, Coach. Miami has high hopes again. But, once again, correct me, stop me if you've heard this before. There's a lot of hype about this Miami football team. When you look at what's going on, look, I think getting a quarterback in De'Aaron King is great. They still have N'Kosi Perry that's over there. He's a good quarterback, but now he may be able to learn a little bit behind a better quarterback. Because remember, here a little bit ago, De'Aaron King was a Heisman hopeful, and at Houston, what he did was phenomenal. Playing for a Houston team. Now he's got a little bit better athletes over there at Miami, but once again, it comes down to can they put it all together. The last time we saw this Miami team, Coach, they were getting shut out in a bowl game against Louisiana Tech. So, Coach, I'll ask you, Miami versus UAB, any reason to believe that Miami does not win this football game, and how do you believe Miami is going to look?
Well, there's reason to believe that they could lose this football game. Yeah, Miami's a big question mark to me. I just don't know whether they're going to be able to play with that great defense that people supposed that they would with Diaz down there. Hasn't happened yet. And they haven't settled on a quarterback really yet. I guess they have with King, but he hasn't played for Miami yet, so we don't know what that might be. UAB could surprise some people. You know, they're, listen, that's not a timid group up there. They come to play and they'll put that Rydell on you pretty quick. So I look for a pretty good ball game there. I think what you say, most will be watching Kansas City and Houston and the NFL, but that's going to be a pretty good college football game as well. And don't count UAB out of this one.
No, not at all. UAB, and remember, UAB's played a football game. Looked a little shaky, but hey, once again, we're in COVID times. Not getting all the practice you need, things like that. That's why UAB has a little bit of an advantage in this game. Now, I'm not bold enough to pick UAB because I am believing De'Aaron King will take them over the top. He will not make this team elite, but he will darn sure help because the quarterback situation they've had has definitely plagued them for quite some time. But I will say this. If UAB wins this ball game, Bill Clark, they better start going ahead and working on building him a statue because what he's been able to do at UAB, remember, this is someone that they got rid of their football program, then they turned around and then brought it back, and he had to go out and get all these players again, and the success that he's had has been phenomenal. I mean, just think about what we've done here with UWF and Coach Pete Shinnick and those guys rebuilding a program. Imagine doing that at a Division I level, even though you do have some things in place. Still, it's very, very tough, but he's had a lot of success. So we'll see. Miami UAB tonight, 7 o'clock on ACC Network. The majority of you, obviously, well, you're going to be watching Houston, Kansas City. By the way, just to remind people, we will be making our NFL picks. We will be having the NFL Picks contest right here for Talk Football. I will post that on our ESPN Pensacola Facebook page. It's got the rules on it. You've got a time. You got to get these picks in by a certain time. Saturday at midnight the picks have to be in for your NFL. For college, they have to be in Friday right there at 11:59. So make sure you get them in there. You got a chance for a gift card, a restaurant gift card. We're going to go here, and then a card for the Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range to go out there and shoot a little bit. So we thank those folks. We'll be getting them more shout-outs as well. But be looking for that on our ESPN Pensacola Facebook page. It's got all the rules, everything you need to do. You just need to tell me what games you're picking, and we got a tiebreaker for a score to one of the games. So we're picking the 10 best games each week for college and NFL. Obviously, in college this week, bear with me as I was going through picking games. There's some games that I had to pick that may be a little bit tricky because they're two lower-tier teams, because some of these teams, like Oklahoma playing Southern Missouri State or whatever it is, I'm not going to put that on there. That's a gimme. But anyway, with that being said, Coach, real quick, before I move over to some news for tonight's game at Houston and Kansas City, LSU is allowing nearly 26,000 fans at football games. That's about 25% capacity. So they will have no tailgating, which a lot of people are like, wow, this is going to be different with LSU having no tailgating. What's that stadium going to look like? People will be tailgating, just different areas. Make that very clear. But, Coach, the Texans are already being plagued. Now, remember Will Fuller? We talked about Will Fuller being he's a tremendous receiver when he's on the field with DeAndre Hopkins, but it's a matter of he goes in and out. I mean, he plays, it seems, half a season every year. When he's on the field, phenomenal receiver, really good receiver. Brandon Cooks right now is a game-time decision against the Chiefs. Now, this is a true game day decision. We'll see what happens tonight. Obviously, a lot of people believe that Kansas City is going to run away with this. I'll get your take on that in a little bit here, Coach. But he's dealing with a quad injury. Remember, Brandon Cooks has been going in and out. He's been dealing with the same stuff injury-wise when you're talking about what Will Fuller is. This is what scared me. I want to make this clear. And I said this. These shows are archived. I said this when this trade went through. Brandon Cooks is a guy that's been bit by the injury bug before. I hope he can get over it. But here we are, day one. First game, and he's dealing with still that same quad injury that seems to never go away year after year. And this is what I think is going to plague the Texans. Although Brandon Cooks, once again, him and Will Fuller are great receivers when they're on the field. It's a matter of getting on the field consistently. Deshaun Watson needs help out there. Deshaun Watson is a great quarterback, but he can't do it by himself. So, Coach, I mean, this could be something that we're going to be talking about all season long. Once again, you trade away DeAndre Hopkins, you bring in Brandon Cooks, and Brandon Cooks is still dealing with the same injuries he's had his entire career. Yeah,
and he's got to continue to deal with them. He's not a big guy. He's injury-prone. I hate to use that word sometimes, but it's true. It applies to Cooks. He's been, how many different teams has he been with? I
think 4, 5.
He's not an older guy. He's already been with, 4 teams. There's something there that doesn't pass the taste test. And it's not something that you can hang your hat on, that's for sure. Now, also, you got to keep in mind that losing Hopkins is such a blow to the quarterback, especially when you get into fast game type action for the first time since you don't have him out there. You're used to having him there. You're used to having that target that you're sure of, the guy that you really have a lot of confidence in. All of a sudden, he's not there. It makes a difference, I'm telling you. And when you look at last year, the last time these two teams played, you realize Houston jumped out to a 24-point lead. They were hit 24-zip. Kansas City came back and won that ball game 51-31. Amazing offense in that game, but they're not. I don't think that Houston's going to be able to score anywhere near 31 points on Kansas City. And I think Kansas City will score more than enough to win this football game. That's the way I see the game itself. But should be an interesting ball game because we've got a lot of continuity going for Kansas City. Got a hot football team, a lot of momentum, and they really don't have a lot that they have to put together to have a well-oiled mid-season form type football team. I think they should be pretty much ready to go right off the bat, especially when they're not going to have to. I don't think they're going to have to outscore. I may be wrong, but I don't think they're going to have to worry about outscoring Houston.
No, I agree with you, Coach. And what's going to happen with that running back situation? This Houston team is a big question mark. I mean, we know Bill O'Brien, and I've said this before. I mean, they win 10. It seems they win 10 10 wins each year, and that's kind of their ceiling. Then they get to the playoffs and they lose out early. That's kind of been this team. Now you're taking away DeAndre Hopkins. How's this? I call it experiment because it's just a weird move in my opinion. Now I know DeAndre Hopkins went over there and got paid, and that's what Bill O'Brien was. He was worried about being able to pay someone that kind of money. This is coming from a man that let Laramie Tunsil have a massive contract and negotiated it himself. So not going to say anything else to that, but it's going to be an interesting game tonight. We'll talk a little bit more about that coming up a little bit later in the show. Coach, look, popped up on the injury report, Tua Tagovailoa. Now, this is obviously he's a fully participating in practice, but it's his hip injury. That's what it's listed under here. He is fully participating, but being listed under there, is there any concern, or is this just a cautionary list here? Because, once again, remember, he had that hip surgery not too long ago with Tua Tagovailoa. But if you're a Miami Dolphin fan, any concern here with him being on the injury report?
Yes. Quite frankly, there is. I was concerned about that injury. That hip injury is so very, very complicated. So many things involved with that. And, I can't even we'd have to get into a college course to give you an idea of what all is involved with the hip itself as the body movement is concerned and strength and leverage, and it's just amazing. I've always had concern about that hip injury. Now, more than or as much as anybody, I'm pulling for the kid to be able to make it and play in the National Football League and have a good career, because I think he's going to have a good career. I think he's going to be a good quarterback. He's got a great touch, great accuracy, quick release. There's just so many things that I like about a quarterback. So, having said that, I am concerned about the hip injury. Now, I don't know how they would list it. If it indeed is something to do with the hip that's bothering him, JP, they have to list it. They have to say what. That's a part of the NFL injury report. It has to be done that way because they have to protect themselves against gambling. Now, to what extent they have to elaborate on that, I don't know. I don't know how much the league would force them to elaborate on it. So we gotta sit tight and see what happens with Tua and that hip, and see if it continues to be a problem. He may just have to drop out this year, not play, and rehab to the fullest at a place like Andrews or somewhere, and get ready to play and have a career. But you can't continually keep that hip in a tenuous situation and expect it to get well. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, Coach, I got a question. Just if you have to have treatment on something, like let's just say he's getting a treatment on that hip, could that force them to put that on the injury report? I mean, how does that work? Because if he's getting treatment on that hip, do you have to put it on the injury report? I guess that's just simply my question.
The injury report clearly has to state if it's an injury that may keep them out of the game.
Okay.
That has to be a part. To what extent? You get down into the weird part of the injury report. To what extent you have to elaborate on rehab, for example. Rehab of a certain joint, let's say, or a leg or arm or whatever, is usually sufficient, but it usually carries along with it a projection for the week. Is he questionable? Is he out? Is he questionable? Is he probable? Those have to be on there. So it gives people a true idea of whether they can expect so-and-so to play or not play. That has to be a part of it. Now, to what extent? I'd like to see the injury report myself on Tua's hip, and I will get it. In fact, I know a couple of coaches I'll call and and get them to read me the NFL injury report on Tua's hip and see what they're saying about his availability to play and what they think this might be. So could be very, very interesting and could be a bad move. Certainly something not very favorable for the Miami Dolphins here if it's anywhere near being a chronic type situation.
Yeah, hopefully, obviously, with Tua, we hope nothing but the best. But you know what? He is on the injury report. So to what extent, we don't know. And like Coach said, that's what he's going to find out. But look, there is caution, and that's one thing we talked about. This is why I never believed that Tua will be starting week 1, because a hip surgery, with just how bad that injury was and going in there and doing what they had to do, it's going to take some time. And if you're the Miami Dolphins, this is your future at quarterback right there. The last thing you want to do right now, especially when, let's be honest, you're not ready to go to the Super Bowl yet. This team is not there yet. They're rebuilding, and they're doing a good job of it, but no sense of putting him out here if he's not 100%. So we got to go to a quick break. When we come back, Sports Illustrated came out with their college football playoff predictions. We'll break that down, and later on in the show, we'll give you our NFL Week 1 picks. All that and more is coming back right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
There's only one place in town for the lowest prices and greatest selection of firearms. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Visit our fully stocked Gun Pro Shop for new and used firearms, accessories, and ammunition. Check out the Indoor Shooting Range. We offer rentals on guns, including fully automatic machine guns and silencers. Ladies, this is the safe place to learn how to use a gun. Plus, Tuesday is Ladies' Day. Women shoot for half price all day. The best place to buy firearms in Pensacola. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Highway 29 in Car City.
You're in charge of hiring, and Indeed has solutions. Like Company Pages, where you can get people excited about working for you. And we give you this toy monkey, which will bang its cymbals when the right resume appears. Okay, there is no monkey.
I said there is no monkey!
But Company Pages, for sure.
See why independent research by Silk Road shows Indeed delivers 3 times more hires than any other job site. Visit Indeed.com/promo to try Company Pages for free. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, it's your Uncle Cooper here. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Goldie, my niece, your cousin. And Goldie didn't know which tires were right for her. The first ones were too much tire, and the next ones were not enough tire. Anyway, long story short, Goldie found the Coopers, and they were just right. What a happy, practical ending. Okay, go to sleep. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
As a fashion designer, Zoe is always looking for inspiration. In Spain, she stumbled upon the world's greatest tomato fighter, which shaped her new line, and her love for Moe's freshly made seasonal salsas. At Moe's, we know everyone is original, so we offer over 20 fresh ingredients to make burritos and other creations as unique as you. Welcome to Moe's! Find your nearest location at Moe's.com.
Chapper Leonte here with the Sports Drive, checking in on the AP Top 25 preseason poll in college football. The Clemson Tigers opened the season at number 1, followed by Ohio State at 2 and Alabama at 3. 7 teams out of the SEC made the top 25. and Ford in the top 10, with Alabama 3, Georgia 4, LSU 6, and Florida number 8. 9 teams out of the Big Ten and Pac-12 made it, but only for the preseason, without playing in 2020. And FSU still a little work to go, with 6 top 25 votes.
Hey, this is Jay Williams. You're listening to Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL head coach K. Stevenson on this Thursday afternoon. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Look, NFL season's here. Got Houston, Kansas City tonight, 7:20. There was times, I'll admit, that I didn't know if we were going to make it to this point, especially with everything going on when it was at its worst. It's hard to look ahead sometimes when you got to take it day by day, but you know what? We're here. And the NFL's done a great job getting to that point as well. And as well as a lot of these college teams, by the way, not having some of the resources that the NFL does, have done a fantastic job. But, Coach, look, Sports Illustrated comes out with their college football playoff predictions. And I know, look, we obviously have time, but it makes you think for a little bit. Now, Clemson, here's the thing. Now, for Pat Forty, he comes out and he says he believes the semifinal will be Clemson versus Georgia, and then Alabama versus Oklahoma. A lot of belief in, that the Gators won't make it, and then Oklahoma will sneak their way in. The title game, he has Alabama versus Clemson, and then the champion, he has the Clemson Tigers. So Ross Dellinger comes out with Alabama versus Notre Dame. How about that? You got 2 ACC teams in here because Clemson, in his second semifinal, will take on Georgia, and he believes that Alabama and Clemson will win those games, and it'll be Alabama and Clemson, same like Pat Forty, and then guess what? Same thing. Clemson will be your champion. So, Coach, I don't think there's a big question mark maybe about Clemson. No surprise that Clemson is looked at as a champion there. A lot of people feel the same way. Maybe it's Alabama or Clemson. That's the two that they have in the title game. But when you look here, Georgia is in Pat Forty's semifinal and Oklahoma, and then you have for Ross Dellinger, he has Notre Dame and Georgia. So there is belief that 2 SEC teams could make it, but no love for Florida. So, Coach, what's your thoughts on this, and what would your semifinal be?
Well, I really think that it's going to boil down to Clemson and Alabama. I really do. Right now, if I should preface by saying, my goodness, you should never look that far ahead. So many things can happen. We're talking about injuries. We're talking about weather. We're talking about attrition. We're talking about all kinds of things. All right, having said that, if you just say everything's even, and we're going to go through the season and no problems, and I've never felt that there was going to be any doubt that the big boys and big boys in college and the NFL would play football this fall. But the Clemson Tigers, I think, are the best football team as I see them right now, the best football team in the country, followed closely by Alabama. I know this sounds like a broken record because that's what most people have come to think the last few years, but I think it's especially true this year that these two teams are at the top of the list. It'll come down to that. If anybody feels that this is the best chance ever for Clemson to win the national championship, I think it's this year. I think they've got a quarterback, once-in-a-lifetime quarterback. They have a number of great skilled people, a very good defense coming back. Offensive line is sound. There's no place that they're in trouble to go play anybody. So I really think that Clemson's got a heck of a shot to win it this year.
Yeah, and I would agree. I'm looking at the depth chart right now that was released for Clemson and Wake Forest, and when you look at Clemson's depth chart, these names that are on this, especially on the defensive side of the ball, these are these 5 stars that we watched them recruit over the past few years. Now, this is a younger group in areas, obviously, on that defense, But, boy, this is a good-looking group. I mean, it really is. When you look at offense, I think the only question mark is how's that wide receiver position going to look? Obviously, with some guys going down, Amari Rogers has stepped up. Now he's the man. You got Cornell Powell. Joseph Nada's coming back. Look, Travis Etienne, we had Alex Scarborough on the show yesterday, and Scarborough said this young man is unbelievable. I mean, he is the most talented running back that you've seen. I mean, 5'10", 205. He's a senior now. He is going to be a star. I mean, and even when he was a freshman, we go back and look at what he did. Has unbelievable speed, pass-catching ability, vision, everything you look for. Then you pair him up with somebody like Trevor Lawrence. This is a match made in heaven. And so the defense is going to be fine. Offense, I think the only question. Now, they are breaking in some new offensive linemen, but once again, it goes back to the same thing people say about Georgia and Alabama and teams like that. They recruit well, so they're filling in 5 stars with more 5 stars, and that's how they've been so successful for so long. So that's why I have to agree. I mean, Clemson, it's hard not to pick Clemson. Listen, I like what Alabama's bringing back, but there's guys stepping into new roles. What Mac Jones is stepping into he is the official starter now. It's his first season. Trevor Lawrence and those guys have been rolling for quite some time. It's so hard now. Obviously, things can change, and I with you, Coach. I hate to look that far ahead because so many different things can happen, but I think it's going to be Alabama and Clemson. I mean, I have a pipe dream being officially a Florida Gator fan now that the Gators could upset them. It's going to be hard. Alabama is rolling right now, and offense, defense, whatever it is, they look good. But Clemson, to me, just looks a little bit better. But, hey, we'll see. It's going to be a weird season, too. Remember all this COVID stuff, everything going on, it's going to be very unique. So, that's all.
JP.
Yes.
JP, I think we need to include in this that this is certainly something that a lot of people like to participate in. So we're going to do that because people like to talk about it and look forward to, who would win the national championship and who would win the NFL, the Super Bowl, who would go, and so on. And we have fun, but we have to make sure that we preface by saying it's not anything other than just participating in an enjoyable activity, an exercise in futility, if you will, but we will do it. I have to say that there's some wild cards here, that as long as we're doing this, we should possibly mention a couple of wild cards that could come into play, and Florida is one of them. Florida is a wild card that I believe could be in the picture, more so than Georgia. And then you've got also a wild card might be North Carolina. So you got to look at all these things and take them into consideration before putting it together. But it's fun to do. And right now, if I had to take anybody and ride them, it would be Clemson.
Yes, absolutely. And, hey, let us know, 850-623-1330. What's your wild card, or who do you believe is going to be in the national championship and win the national championship? We'd love to hear from you. You mentioned wild cards, and, Coach, I mentioned one the other day in the Big 12. I mean, I know everybody's on Oklahoma, and rightfully so with what they've been able to do. Spencer Rattler is a fantastic quarterback, a 5-star guy, obviously. I think they've lost a lot, though. And when I look at that, I look at a team that may surprise some people, like I said the other day, Iowa State. Bringing back Brock Purdy, that defense was the best in the Big 12. They lost a couple close games last year. Otherwise, they would have been in there. When you look at the coaching staff, that's, he's a guy that has been named for big-name jobs. So this is that's kind of my wild card in the Big 12. And if they can win the Big 12, who knows if you make it in the playoff or not. I'm not saying they will, but if they have a good enough season, who knows. So, look, it is what it is.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. I would agree with you, JP.
This is, and Coach, the thing we have to say is we have no idea what this season is going to bring. We have no idea what teams, what happens if a quarterback goes down. Like, God forbid, we'll just say, and make sure I preface by saying that one of the big-name quarterbacks goes down. I'm not going to name one because I don't want to put that on anybody, but it can change the entire outlook. You lose that game, you lose that opportunity, another team slips up. So this is what I'm saying. With COVID going on, we're having to look at things with our eyes and taking our blinders off and saying, okay, this is the entire picture. Here's what could happen. It's possible. It's just, and it's the same thing in the NFL. When you've got the Philadelphia Eagles signing Josh McCown to a practice squad and saying, we want you to train at home in Texas. We want you to sit on a couch and do our meetings. All right, we're going to pay you $12,000 a week, and if we get somebody that gets COVID, then we'll fly you in. But you're going to be a quarterback for us. That's the times we're in right now. That's something that more teams will probably end up doing, and so you have to be aware of it. But you know what? It's going to be really interesting. That's what college football to me is already intriguing so much already. I love NFL as well, but when you're talking about so many teams in college, there's so much stuff that's involved in this. This year is going to make it even better. I'm giddy, Coach, because football's here. We got NFL tonight. ACC's opening up this weekend. Big 12 opening up. SEC's coming up soon. Like I said before at the beginning of the show, I didn't know if we would get to this point, but we are here now, and so I'm gonna savor it. But with that being said, we're gonna go to a quick break. When we come back, we're gonna talk about our NFL Week 1 picks. We're gonna break it down for you. We're gonna give you our picks, and remember, we're doing a contest here. Now, I will post this on our ESPN Pensacola Facebook page. Give you all the rules, give you the rundown there. You just pick your teams, you pick your tiebreaker score there, you send it in to us, and whoever's the closest will win some prizes there. Hey, all you got to do is just do what you love doing anyway, picking football teams to win, whether it's gambling, whatever it is. It's just that easy. Just submit them in. Like I said, the rules are going to be on there on our ESPN Pensacola Facebook page. It's our Talk Football NFL picks and our college picks. I'll submit them on there here coming up real soon. So we'll talk about our NFL picks coming up right after this break right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
Sometimes your bank, your family, and your friends love you, but they don't have the money to help you. Sometimes we have chances to make money, but the old saying, you've got to have money to make money, rings true. At Pensacola Specialty Pond, we can help. If you have trucks, heavy equipment, airplanes, boats, jet skis, anything with value, Pensacola Specialty Pond can loan you that short-term money you need. No credit checks, and at Pensacola Specialty Pond, you're going to find the money and the discretion you need.
Now at 6428 Pensacola Boulevard, north of Car City. Call 432-9050, 432-9050.
That's what protecting your car could sound like with 303 Touchless Sealant. Just spray on a wet surface, rinse off, and dry. It's the sound of twice the protection as traditional waxes and insane water beading you have to see to believe.
Wait, this is radio, right?
Okay, moving on. 303 Touchless Sealant. Visit 303radio.com for more information.
Looking for a long-term career with a company that promotes from within? Good news! One of the largest and most recognized brands in the world is currently hiring. Pensacola Coca-Cola has an immediate opening for Class A CDL delivery drivers. That's right, Pensacola Coca-Cola is hiring full-time Class A CDL delivery drivers. Take the first step to a refreshing career, not just another paycheck. Apply today online at Coca-ColaUnited.com/careers. That's Coca-ColaUnited.com/careers. Selected candidates will be required to pass a background check and drug screen.
Locally owned Jackson Pace Pharmacy has exciting news for ED patients. Tadalafil, the FDA-approved generic for Cialis, is now here, and the cost savings are huge. Save 80% on the 20-milligram tablets, 30 tablets for $80, less than $3 a pill. A prescription from your doctor is required, so stop by Jackson Pace Pharmacy, 2256 West 9 Mile Road in Pensacola, and cash in on the savings today.
DraftKings, the leader in one-day fantasy sports, is kicking off the football season with a total of $3 million up for grabs for this Thursday's football contest. Download the DraftKings app now and use code GREENIE. For a limited time, new users can get a free shot at the $1 million top prize and $3 million in total prizes with your first deposit. That's code GREENIE. Only at DraftKings. Make it rain. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
Hey, this is Chad Berliante from the Afternoon Sports Drive, and you're listening to Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Welcome back to Talk to Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL head coach Kay Stevenson on this Thursday afternoon. The NFL season has arrived with Thursday Night Football. Now, I've never been a big fan of Thursday Night Football just because typically the games are not very good. But you know what? With COVID season going on, I am gracious any day that we have football. And we got a good one. Oh, boy, this is going to be a lot of fun. A rematch from the playoffs last year. The Houston Texans taking on the Kansas City Chiefs after the Chiefs won their first Super Bowl, obviously with Andy Reid at the helm there. Great. We've had Andy Reid on the show before. Just an awesome, awesome coach there. So happy that he was able to get his first one right there. But, Coach, well, we're going to go through our picks here. Now, the point spread for the Kansas City Chiefs and Texans is, look, the Chiefs are a 9.5-point favorite. I want to make that clear because I know a lot of people obviously love dabbling in gambling and just love point spreads overall. It just brings another intrigue to the game. Now, here's the thing. 9.5 seems about right to me when you look at an NFL game. The reason I say that is, look, with Brandon Cooks possibly being out this game, you're talking about Deshaun Watson, and now he's got Will Fuller. Now, what's going to happen with that running back situation? Is how good's the defense going to be? You know, is J.J. Watt going to be 100%? This is a guy in J.J. Watt that had, you know, he's gone through some injuries, obviously every single year it seems of his career, but when he's healthy, he's great. This is an interesting team in the Texans. When you look at the Chiefs, they pretty much brought everybody back, and I think you got an upgrade at running back. Remember, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the young man from the LSU Tigers right there with coming off another national championship, he is their starting running back, and boy, he looks good. And everybody in camp watching film of him, the videos and highlights and everything he's done in camp, he looks really good. He looks like he's fitting into this offense. I think he'll work very well. But Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, all those guys, they're back. Mecole Hardman, I mean, we could go down the list. The speed they have is unbelievable. Oh, by the way, their tight end's pretty darn good too in Travis Kelce. So this is this to me, Coach, I don't think this will be close. I think that if anything, the Texans are going to be trying to find themselves. I mean, with no preseason games, though, it is a little bit different, obviously, for a lot of these teams. But I will say the point spread being 9.5, I would take the over. I would say they win by at least 10 here. I'm picking the Chiefs over the Texans. What say you, Coach?
Yeah, I would take the Chiefs. That we have to make sure that people out there understand we are not. This is not gambling,
right?
Under any circumstances. So you're not risking. This is a game, a contest. Have some fun. That's all it is. It has nothing to do with gambling. The reason that we introduced the point spread in the game is because when you're picking games, it makes it awfully unfair if you don't have the point spread involved in your pick. For example, during a normal college season, now this year it's a little different because they're playing in, but still, if Alabama's playing Vanderbilt, and all you have to do is choose the winner without a point spread involved, well, there's not much doubt about who you're going to pick and who's going to win it. So you got to get the point spread involved to make it fair. Now, if you've got a lot of points involved in there in that point spread, then it gives everybody a better chance to pick the ball game. But some people would pick it both ways. Anyway, I just want to make that clear before we get started. This is not a gamble. We don't promote gambling in any way, shape, form, or fashion. We just this is a lot of fun. People have a lot of fun with it. That's what we want to do.
Absolutely. That's a great point just to understand because I'm not a gambler myself. I would probably be terrible at it anyway. But, Coach, moving on here, the Raiders at the Panthers. Look, the Raiders are a 3-point favorite. And I think, look, with the Panthers, they're rebuilding right now. They got Teddy Bridgewater. The defense is not very good. But you know what? They have Christian McCaffrey. We have to remember Christian McCaffrey does make a difference. But when you look at the Raiders here, now the Raiders opening up, they 1-5 straight up and against the spread. Gruden usually doesn't start out the season very well. Derek Carr, has heard that Marcus Mariota was doing a great job, and that's coming from his head coach. He's tired of being disrespected. What happens there? How does this offense look? The defense has been good. The defense has stifled a lot of people. I almost want to take the Panthers in this game just because Teddy Bridgewater there now gives them a little bit better, obviously, in the quarterback situation. They got some good young receivers, and they have Christian McCaffrey. I just don't have a lot of faith in the Raiders being able to get it going early. They got to travel to Carolina, with COVID travel and everything else going on. I mean, it is a little bit different for these guys. So, Coach, when I look at this, I know the Raiders are a 3-point favorite. I'm going to pick the Panthers straight up to upset the Raiders.
Well, I'm going to go the other way. I think the Raiders win this ball game. You've got a new coaching staff, a whole new approach to football, both offensively and defensively, and as well special teams, which is a big part of it as well. So, with all of that, I think you've got to pick the Raiders. And let me tell you this: if the Raiders don't win this ball game, there are going to be some big questions and possibly some problems ahead. So I think they've got to win it. I'll take the Raiders.
Yeah, there will be problems. There's already some unrest now, but they signed that big contract, guaranteed contract to John Gruden, and maybe regretting that after this season. We'll see. I like Derek Carr at quarterback position though, but the Browns at the Ravens. Now the Ravens are a 7.5-point favorite. I think everybody is pretty high on the Baltimore Ravens coming back. Look, they had a great regular season last year. The Tennessee Titans beat them in the playoffs. Lamar Jackson, what's going to happen? I know he's been dealing with a groin injury. But it seems that he's healthy now. This is a good team in Baltimore. They have a really good defense. Baltimore's defense did not get enough credit last year. And because, look, they had Lamar Jackson on offense, and people love offense. Let's just call it what it is. I personally love defenses. But when you look at this Browns team, obviously Nick Chubb, guys like that, Kareem Hunter back. They got Austin Hooper at the tight end position. Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham Jr.'s out there. Baker Mayfield's coming to year 3. He's quit doing commercials that we've seen. The offensive line's gotten a little bit better. That defense was a good defense last year. We expect them to be a little bit better. A 7.5-point favorite seems a little bit high to me. I really want to pick the Browns in the upset because remember, the Browns beat them last year in the regular season at one point. So I think this is going to be a Browns team that is looking for revenge, that wants respect, and they know week 1 they can go out and get it. I know that I'm probably completely wrong on this because the Ravens are a really good team. I picked the Steelers to win that division as long as Big Ben can stay healthy, but I'll just stick with the Steelers. But, Coach, I'm going to say this again. The Browns, I believe, will upset the Ravens week 1.
I'm going to take the Browns as well, but I guess we're going to have to move on here to get all 10 games in, so I won't elaborate on it. I just think this is upset ready to happen. I'll take the Browns in this ball game.
Yeah,
at the 7.5 points.
Absolutely. And you know what, Coach? We're going to go to a quick break so we can have plenty of time to finish up here. When we come back, we'll finish picks for our NFL Week 1 right here. Look, it's here. Tonight, Houston and Kansas City play, so we're getting excited, as should you. So we'll talk about all that and more when we come back right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
There's only one place in town for the lowest prices and greatest selection of firearms. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Visit our fully stocked Gun Pro Shop for new and used firearms, accessories, and ammunition. Check out the Indoor Shooting Range. We offer rentals on guns, including fully automatic machine guns and silencers. Ladies, this is the safe place to learn how to use a gun. Plus, Tuesday is Ladies' Day. Women shoot for half price all day. The best place to buy firearms in Pensacola. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Highway 29 in Car City.
These days, hiring can be a challenge. Monica Starks could relate. She was having a tough time filling a pivotal role at her construction company, GS Group. So she switched to ZipRecruiter, and today you can try that for free at ZipRecruiter.com/Greeny. 5 minutes after posting, ZipRecruiter sent her the best candidate. She hired him the next day. It's no wonder 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/Greeny. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Greeny.
It's time for some straight talk. You know what covering your bases is in baseball, right? Making sure you have no holes in your defense. Well, that's the kind of coverage you get with Straight Talk Wireless. And you'll pay up to 50% less than big carriers and still use their same networks. Just $45 a month gets you the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data and 2G. No contract, no mystery fees. Fully covering your bases for 50% less. Straight Talk Wireless, only at Walmart. Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL head coach Kay Stevenson on this Thursday afternoon. Jumping right back into it, making our picks for NFL Week 1 as the Houston Texans and Kansas City Chiefs play tonight. Coach, look, we've got the Lions and the Bears. Oh, my. Bears are taking on they're traveling to the Lions there. The Lions are a 3-point favorite. I will say this, as I know we are time constricted here. I'm going to pick the Lions to upset the Bears. I just don't think the Bears get enough offense.
I am as well. I'm going to take the Lions. I think Patricia's going to get that defense working well, and Stafford is going to put points on the board with football. I don't think the Bears can contend with that and come back and outscore them. So, and the Lions are at home. So I'll take the Lions, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, the Lions need that. Matt Patricia and that team needs that big win right there. Packers and Vikings. Now, going back, I picked the Vikings to win this division, and I will pick the Vikings to win this game. They're a 2.5-point favorite at home against the Packers. I just don't think the Packers have enough offense. I think the defense will be good, but I think the Vikings got a lot better. Remember, Justin Jefferson, their draft pick, takes over with Stephon Diggs, for Stephon Diggs, and so it's Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson. They still have a great offensive line there. The defense has gotten a little bit better, getting some guys over. I just think the Vikings are going to win this game. It's going to be close, but I think the Vikings win, Coach.
Yeah, I think the Vikings at home, 2.5 points. Yeah, you give the Packers that and take the Vikings to win it. I like a lot of things about the Vikings. I think they're a good football team. I like Cousins as a quarterback. I think they're a very, very good defensive football team. They can run the ball well. They've got an outstanding running back. They've got, in fact, you remember now, a couple of coaches told us they like Jefferson better than Diggs. So that may have been a net gain for Minnesota with Jefferson as opposed to a loss of Diggs.
Yes, I think it helps your locker room. I think it makes your team that much better. Jefferson, by the way, Justin Jefferson, fantastic receiver from LSU last year. Jets at Bills. Now, here's the game. Look, the Bills are a 6.5-point favorite at home. The Jets are reeling right now. Nobody knows what the Jets are. I think that seems to be the question mark every year. There's so much animosity within that locker room itself. The Bills are looking, look, Tom Brady's gone. They see some hope right there that they could win that division. Sean McDermott's done a really good job. They play really good defense. Coach, I think that, look, when you look at it, I think if they run the football and establish the run game, they will win this game. I think it'll be a little sloppy, obviously, in Week 1. But I will take the Bills a touchdown. Another 6.5-point favorite, but I would take them by a touchdown.
I will, too. I'll take the Bills at home with all that's at stake right now and against a very, very big question mark in the New York Jets. I just think, unless their quarterback can go above and beyond what we expect him to be able to do, they're not going to have a very productive year. So I'll take the Bills.
Yes, and Coach, moving on here, the Seahawks taking on the Falcons. They have to travel to Atlanta. The Seahawks are a 2-point favorite on the road. Now, this is typically a game that doesn't bother Seattle. Now, that goes to Russell Wilson and how great a quarterback he is. I think this is a lot of respect for a Falcons team, by the way, that people forget, too. Seattle is a really good football team. They've made some good moves, obviously. Some people are predicting that they'll win that division. I'm not going that far, but Matt Ryan and those guys, this is look, opening up at home. I wish there was tons of fans. Not sure their fan situation, but regardless, this is going to be a little bit better of a game than a lot of people think. I think the 2 points is right there. I really want to pick the Falcons to upset the Seahawks, especially with all that travel coming from the West Coast, but I can't bring myself to do it because this is just the type of game that Russell Wilson will squeak out a win, and I would say the Seahawks by a field goal, Coach.
Well, I'm going to take Atlanta, and I'll tell you why. They know, listen, they've got no wiggle room in that division with Tampa Bay now and New Orleans, as potent as they are. They've got no wiggle room. I just think it's something that is going to it's going to be an upset, and I would certainly agree with that. But I'm going to take Atlanta.
If they can get Todd Gurley going and establish that run game, something that they haven't truly had in a while, this makes Atlanta a completely different team. And, boy, and it helps out that defense needs a lot of help. So if Todd Gurley is healthy, hopefully he is, this could be a really good Atlanta team this year. They need that run game, especially for Matt Ryan and how good that offense already is. So, Coach, jumping over here, Dolphins at Patriots. The Patriots now, Cam Newton is their quarterback. They're a 6.5-point favorite at home. Ryan Fitzpatrick will be the Dolphins starter there. This is a up-and-coming Dolphins team. They've still got a ways to go. But you know what, 6.5 points, I think that Bill and Cam will come out, make a little bit of a statement. The defense is really good. They're really good. I think they'll take advantage of some big-time turnovers here, and I think the Pats will win by 10.
I'm going to pick an upset here. I'm going to take the Miami Dolphins.
All right.
And yes, sir. There are a number of reasons for that. And so we'll see how it works out. But I really think that we could really see an upset here in Miami and New England.
Hey, you know what? Miami beat them last year. This is a team that they got better on defense. So, you know what? It's going to be interesting. There's a lot of question marks with New England right now. A lot of people want to go ahead and say Cam Newton, yep, that's the star. I think there's a lot more to be said. That quarterback position is going to be open. But the Colts at the Jags. Now, the Jags at home, doesn't matter. The Colts are an 8-point favorite. Coach, I know you're very high on this Colts team. I, unfortunately, am with you on that. I'm worried about how good this Colts team is. Phillip Rivers coming over there, best offensive line, great running backs, great wide receivers. They're getting healthy. The defense is really good. This is a Colts team that I think is going to be on a mission this year, and I think they'll just roll over the Jags.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question about that. Colts are my wild card team anyway. I think they're going to be a good football team.
Philadelphia at Washington. Coach, I'm not going to waste too much time here. I think Washington has a lot of questions. They'll be okay. They'll get a little bit better as they go along. But Philadelphia, this is a must-win. They cannot afford to come out sloppy here. They're dealing with a little bit of injuries. But nonetheless, that defense is too good to lose this football game. So the Eagles are a 5.5-point favorite. I'll take the Eagles.
Yeah, I will too. I think, it's unfortunate they lost the whole left side of their offensive line. But I don't think that's going to hurt them in this ball game. That's going to hurt them at some point during the season, which I'm concerned about with Philadelphia because they're a good football team. I'd like to see them be in contention. But in this ball game, they take care of Washington.
The Chargers and Bengals. Joe Burrow comes out there against Tyrod Taylor. The Chargers are a 3-point favorite. You know what, Coach? The Bengals at home, Joe Burrow, the feel-good story. Give me Joe Burrow in the upset. The Bengals, the defense, they've had a couple injuries with that Chargers defense. Tyrod Taylor, this is not going to be an offensive output type team. I'm going to take Joe Burrow and the Bengals in the upset.
I would love to see it. I'm going to go along with you because I just want to see it. I'd love to see that happen. And it could, believe me. Now, it's not out of the realm. This is not a long shot. This could happen. So I'm going to go with you on this one. A couple of big upsets here.
Cardinals at 49ers. Everybody I know, they got the hype on the Cardinals, and that's all well and good. This is a better team with DeAndre Hopkins. The defense is still very poor. The 49ers defense is rock solid. Jimmy G comes out, I think, this year and has a really good year and proves a good point regardless of he still doesn't have the greatest help at wide receiver. But, Coach, I'm going to pick the Cardinals. Like the 49ers. The 49ers are a 7-point favorite. I will go with the 49ers.
Oh, yeah, I am too, absolutely. And I think Jimmy G has a big game, and I think he's going to show people what he's really like this year.
Cowboys and Rams. Now, this is intriguing enough. What are the Rams going to look like? The Cowboys are a 3-point favorite on the road in L.A. right there. I think it's very important. Look, week 1 coming out for the Cowboys. I don't know about this Rams team enough. I don't know that running back situation with Todd Gurley gone. What's going to happen with the quarterbacks and everything. I'm going to go to the Cowboys. They're a 3-point favorite, so I will stay even right there and go Cowboys over Rams.
I think I'm going to have to join you there and say Cowboys as well. I just don't have a lot of confidence in the Rams right now.
Now, obviously, we got 2 games coming up on Monday night. We'll talk about those on Monday. But, Coach, I saved the best for last year. Bucs at Saints, so we got about a minute left. The Saints are a 3.5-point favorite. I hate to say this. God, I hate to say this, but I really think Tom Brady will win this ball game. I think the Buccaneers will upset the Saints at home.
I'm going to take them. It's going to be a heck of a ball game. These are 2 outstanding football teams. As I've said, I think both will end up in the playoff. But I'm going to take Tampa Bay in and upset with take the 3.5 points here. Yeah, I'm going to do the same.
I just you know what? I know a lot of people are like, yeah, it's going to take some time to mesh. We'll see. I don't know. It's Tom Brady. I'm never counting him out, especially in a game like this with his new team. But Coach, that sound means it's time for us to go as usual. Didn't get to everything, but you know what? We'll do it all again tomorrow, my friend.
You bet. Look forward to it, JP. Thank you.
Yes, sir, Coach. Take care, and appreciate our listeners out there. Be looking on ESPN Pensacola, our Facebook page there, for our contest, and we'll be back tomorrow talking some football with you right here on Talk Football with Coach K.
This is ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Pensacola's home for hometown sports. Your home to talk football with Coach K. Sports Drive with Chad Brillante and Sports Call with Davis Allen. If you'd like to partner with ESPN Pensacola or become a sponsor, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
This is the Max Kellerman Show. Max Kellerman Show on ESPN Radio.
It's the Max Kellerman Show on ESPN Radio, ESPN News, the ESPN app, and SiriusXM Channel 80, and, of course, on your smart speaker. I am obviously not Max Kellerman. You don't have to be brilliant to figure that out. I'm Jason Fitz in for Max Kellerman. Some technical issues. I'm just, I got to ask. We got Max. Max is going to hang out with us straight out of the gate. We're presented by Progressive Insurance. All guests are going to join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. You guys can hang out with us. 888-SAY-ESPN, 888-729-3776. We'll start with some Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Max Kellerman on the phone with us. They say you're having technical issues. I don't know. It's the first day of football season. Are you sure that you just didn't need like a little extra grilling time, a little extra party time, Max? I mean, I get it.
Technically, the issue is I need to get the chips before. You know what? This keeps happening. Like this is it's like a Wi-Fi issue, I guess, in my neighborhood from an undisclosed location in New York City. So this has happened once on First Take. About a week ago, and now it's happened on the radio, and hopefully we get it all technically ironed out so it doesn't happen anymore. But thank you for pinch hitting. I appreciate it, brother.
Oh, man, thanks for having me in for you. I appreciate it. And obviously, we got a lot to get to, and I'll keep ribbing you about the Wi-Fi issues. But more importantly, obviously, there was a lot of NBA action last night. And I want to start with this Raptors-Celtics series because I have this theory, Max. I have this theory that NBA fans are so worried about what's coming next, whether it's free agency in next season or the Western Conference Finals, the NBA Finals. Everybody's so worried about what's coming next that we stop enjoying the right now. We got a crazy double overtime game against the Raptors-Celtics. I mean, Twitter was blowing up. Everybody was blowing up. It was electric. To me, these are the moments coming off of like we underappreciated Jazz Nuggets. Now it feels like we're underappreciating Raptors Celtics. Like what has stood out to you in that series that you didn't expect?
Well, first, your theory. I don't know that I agree. I'd say that if anything, we're waiting for that Lakers-Clippers matchup in the Western Conference Finals. That may be what we're looking for next. But I would say the bubble action, period, and you can even go back before the playoffs, has been amazing. The issue with the NBA, of course, and it's the reason I think it's the best team sport, it's one of the reasons, is that the best team always wins. It's not March Madness, a one and done, where a lesser team might upset a better team on a given night. It's not football or baseball where there are just so many parts, right, that a whistle here or a hot starting pitcher there and the lesser team advances past the better team. No, you can run all your plays through your best players. There aren't that many players on the field to play, so the kind of variables like that are lower than in the other sports. And you have 7 games, best of 7 series. So the better team always seems to advance. And that's great. But on the other hand, in one way, let's see who the best is. But on the other hand, it takes kind of the randomness out and diminishes the drama like in the NFL or Major League Baseball even, or March Madness. And so this bubble has solved that because we've gotten some freaky kind of results. Starting with the Bucks, by the way, who were no good in the bubble, right? And then you brought up the Denver-Utah series. That's as good a series as you're going to see in the first round. Are you kidding me? So I don't think that if there's any kind of sense let's look forward, let's see what's coming next, I think it might be the LeBron-Kawhi, Lakers-Clippers matchup in the Western Conference Finals. But all I know is on this show every day, I can't believe, even when I'm reading the promos, how much great stuff there is to look forward to, including a double overtime win by the defending champs to force a Game 7. It's amazing.
Well, and you're right. I mean, and I think the LeBron conversation and the way it always plays forward to Kawhi is a little bit of what's on my mind because I felt like, in general, the NBA community, of which, I love the sport as much as everybody. I think part of the NBA community didn't necessarily celebrate the first round as much as I wanted or the second round as much as I wanted with this particular series. Now, I'm curious because I kept watching the end of that game in double overtime and thinking about this thing we always hear about, Max. You always hear about the DNA, the culture, the understanding of what it takes to win, which is a little foreign to me because, let's face it, everybody that gets to the NBA is there because they're great at what they do, and they've presumably won at a lot of levels. But I couldn't help last night but looking at this thinking, man, the Raptors have it in their DNA, which is the most cliched thing in the world to say. But when you see the way that game played out, it's what I felt watching it.
Yeah, well, first of all, that starts with the coach. Really, even the GM or the president of operations, right? You can even go all the way to ownership because a fish rots from the head down, but you establish the culture that way too. Masai Ujiri was a great GM when he was in Denver, right? It's the old Hoosiers thing. Look, it's the same dimension, same from the free throw line, the Gene Hackman speech and all, but no. You really can't how do you exploit a home court in basketball the way you can in baseball? Short right field porch, load with left-handed hitters. Football, you have a dome, you get an accurate quarterback, right? There are all kinds of where you play on turf. There are different ways to exploit home court. Masai realized in Denver, I'm going to get a team 10 deep and run everyone out the gym because of the thin air, right? And then he goes to Toronto, builds another deep team, and actually lands Kawhi and wins a championship. So it starts with Masai, goes down to Nick Nurse, who is unafraid. Stephen A. brought it up today on First Take. Boxing one, does it on Steph Curry, does it on whoever he needs to. Kemba Walker dares Tatum and Jaylen Brown to beat him. Goes really tightens the rotation 7 deep. But in fact, in a way, it was almost like a 6-man rotation in the sense that Nick Nurse recognized, he had the guts to recognize, wait a minute, Tejas is a really good player. I think he's an above-average center for sure. And one of the reasons the Celtics are really good. But offensively, those bigs on the Celtics couldn't score on Toronto, right? They weren't afraid of them offensively. So you can limit Ibaka and Gasol, and those two guys can kind of combine to get the minutes of one player. I mean, it's a lot of minutes, double overtime game. And then otherwise, if you think of those as one guy, then otherwise there are only 5 other players who really got minutes. So he really tightened the rotation, went small ball with Anunoby at the 5. And when you think about Anunoby, last year, it wasn't like, there's Siakam and then no, it was you have 2 young, talented ascending forwards, Anunoby and Siakam. Anunoby just happened to get hurt, right? He had a medical issue. And Siakam played out of his mind in the playoffs. But no, Anunoby was supposed to be a younger, more athletic Draymond Green kind of player. And I think that him playing the 5 really it turned them into a kind of a Warrior-style lineup. The difference being, and I talked about this on First Take today too, Steph shoots from so far away. It gives a guy like Draymond Green, who's just willing to shoot, even if he's not a good shooter, amazing amounts of time, right? Rotations come from farther away and all that, and so he has time to shoot. It makes him a better shooter. Anunoby doesn't get that from Kyle Lowry, who had a great game, but Anunoby has a quick release and is also unafraid. So suddenly you're playing in this 5-out or small ballish lineup that really works, and so that DNA you're talking about, I think, is about a coach who is unafraid to try things. And unlike guys like Budenholzer and a few others who you're like, these are really good coaches, but where's the urgency in the playoffs? This guy seems to get that.
Yeah, he's preaching truth. It's the Max Kellerman Show on ESPN Radio and ESPN News. I'm Jason Fitz, in for Max, but Max is on the phone with me. And, Max, you make a great point because we talk so much about what home court advantage means in the NBA playoffs and how it wouldn't be there in the bubble. I think the thing that has surprised me the most that I don't know a lot of us anticipated was how clear it would become that certain coaches are just better than other coaches. And we undervalue coaching in the NBA. We've seen it in that series. So let's go to the other series. Obviously, last night, the Clippers get the big win, 96-85 over the Nuggets. They now take a commanding 3-1 series lead. I guess I sort of expected it, Max. I guess I expected the Clippers to come out and be exactly what they were last night. I expected Kawhi to come out and be dominant. And as good as I think the Nuggets have the potential to be, they're just up against a team that, quite simply, is better than they are.
Well, I agree with that. But I think that, and by the way, if you have a 7-game series in the previous round, that's on you, right? Like, Clippers handled business. On the other hand, the Clippers handled business because Porzingis wasn't there. Like, when Porzingis got ejected that game, then the Clippers took over. And until he didn't play, through those games that he did play, the conclusion you draw is the Mavs were better than the Clippers, I think. And I picked the Clippers since the beginning of the season. Mavs were my sleeper team, but I like the Clippers since the Kawhi move. I thought, okay, they're going to win the championship, and I haven't moved off that. Still, they were fortunate not to have a more extended series, more protracted series. But, okay, that's part of it. Luck is part of it, and this is what I mean by randomness in the bubble, right? This is a little different than it normally is. So the Nuggets get extended 7. The Clippers are sitting there waiting for them. And that first loss, I thought you made a very good point when you talked about coaching, because home court means much less right now. It doesn't really mean anything, in fact. Who has home court? Nobody. So instead of going in, I think Nate Duncan or someone tweeted about this, or maybe Kirk Goldsberry tweeted about instead of going into games where the team with the home court has an 80% chance to win the closeout game or whatever it is, oh, no, wait, this is a 50-50 style game. There's no real home court or road losses. However, the Nuggets had a schedule loss at game 1. That was a schedule loss, and that kind of changed the complexion of the series, I think. I expected this to go at least 6 games, but when you have – they were exhausted, and the Clippers were fresh, and I didn't read too much into that. Since then, it's 1-1. Since then, the Nuggets are really – I don't consider them out of this. I think they can get another game from the Clippers. All that said – Jokic and Jamal Murray are an excellent pair. Michael Porter Jr. is obviously a player, although his post-game comments have to be troubling if you're a Nuggets fan, talking about, well, as they're running the offense through those two guys. It's like, hold on, young blood, you're a little bit out of line there. You're in the playoff series. And by the way, you only have 2 assists in the whole series. Calm down. And so maybe that's part of growing pains. But the bottom line is the Clippers have who I consider the best player in the world, the reigning and defending, Finals MVP, but more than Finals MVP, the whole postseason MVP from last year. And I think that's the difference, really.
Well, you mentioned that Kawhi has 292 points in this postseason. That's the most in the first 10 games of a single postseason in Clippers history. But it's looked at times, I think, a little easier in the bubble for the Clippers than I expected, honestly, Max. Not because the Clippers aren't great, but because they just didn't get a lot of time together during the regular season. And,
exactly.
that to me was going to be a factor, and it really hasn't been because Kawhi